Welcome to the Cat Protection Society Perfect Podcast, a podcast developed for cat-loving humans who want to ensure their cat has a happy, healthy, safe and enriched 9 lives, and to celebrate just how amazing cats are as companion animals. Welcome to the Perfect Podcast, brought to you by the Cat Protection Society of Victoria, where we chat all things feline, from health and behaviour to adoption and care, helping every cat and their human live their best life. I'm Rach, and today we're diving into one of the most misunderstood topics in cat care, nutrition. What should cats really be eating to stay happy, healthy and thriving? And how can we sort fact from fiction when it comes to all those myths floating around online? Joining me are 2 people who know their cat stuff inside and out. Em, our CPS shelter manager, who's cared for thousands of cats with all kinds of dietary needs. And Caitlin, our vet clinic practice manager, who works closely with our veterinary team to ensure every cat receives the right nutritional care. We'll be busting some of the biggest cat food myths, from raw diets to milk, treats and everything in between. So, let's get started. Caitlin and Em, thank you for joining us. Caitlin, let's start with you. What should a healthy cat diet actually include?
So balanced diet is always best. We always say premium is preferred. So your Royal Canin, Hills, etc. Anything that is coloured, so bright colours, you need to stay away from.
Okay. Cats are carnivores, but what does that really mean in terms of their nutrition needs?
It means that we call them obligatory carnivores, which means that cats should not be fed plant material. They do not need it. Whereas dogs are omnivores, they can eat and absorb those nutrients. Cats can't. So if you're feeding a supermarket diet, a lot of the time the fillers in that are plant-based, which means that the cats aren't getting all the nutrition that they need. So that's when the premium diets are best.
Okay, amazing. Thanks, Anne. Another question for you while you've got the microphone. So how can cat owners tell if the food they're buying is truly balanced and good quality?
Usually what you get from the supermarkets isn't a premium diet. So your premium diets, as Caitlin said, are your Royal Canin, your Hills, Advance, things that you can get from a vet clinic. Even the pet shops will sell it as well. Technically, it's the higher cost diets that are premium because they've had all the tests run and all the studies done. In saying that, anything that's, as Caitlin said, brightly coloured is usually full of dyes and flavourings to make it yummy, which is not a great diet, but we do realise that in this time and age with the cost of living, sometimes supermarket brands are the only diets that we can feed.
Okay. All right, great. Caitlin, let's go through some myths. So myth 1, cats should drink milk. They love it. Talk to us about that one.
So most cats are actually lactose intolerant, so milk is not ideal for them. It can cause diarrhea, vomiting, etc. Water is absolutely fine, and they do not need human cow's milk.
Okay, all right. Caitlin, so myth 2, dry food is bad for cats and wet food is the only healthy choice. Is one really better than the other?
So I wouldn't say one is better than the other, but both have benefits. So dry food, especially if you're looking at a dental diet, is going to help with teeth cleaning, where wet food will help with water intake if you have a cat with urinary issues, etc.
Okay. All right. Em, grain-free cat food is always healthier. True or false?
I don't actually know a lot about grain-free diets. This is going to be controversial because I'm going to say that I don't agree with them.
Okay, that's okay. Why?
Why don't I agree?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time grain-free is a fad.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And if your cat is having skin issues or dietary issues, you need to get to the cause and the root of that with a proper food diet, not I'm going to grab grain-free off the shelf at Safeway and see if that works.
Yeah, I think if you've got a cat with skin issues, you're better to go to the vet and have it prescribed and actually do a proper food trial rather than chopping and changing foods.
Yeah.
All right. Caitlin, next myth. My cat will know when it's full and it will stop eating.
Do we know when we're full and when we stop eating?
So have you met my cats?
So I would say no. Look, there'll always be the exception to the rules. Some cats will very happily graze and will not overeat, but my cats 100% overeat. If that food bowl isn't full at certain times, I get screamed at, definitely, but I would say set feed times is always better for most cats.
And it also sets routine and boundaries with your cat as well. It's your cat's not going to be screaming at you at 3 a.m. in the morning because it's hungry, where it knows it gets breakfast at 8:30 as well.
Okay. Something we probably should have kicked off with. What do we feed the cats here at the shelter?
So we feed Royal Canin. We feed a diet of wet and dry, just to get a little bit of water intake as well. So they get dry food twice a day and they get wet food once a day. They are what we call couch potatoes in here. They're not doing a lot. So we do have them on quite a strict diet to make sure that they're not getting quite fat. In saying that, most of them are overweight. If they get really overweight, we then put them on a specialised diet to get that weight off of them so that they are healthy again. And then the kittens here get fed dry and wet 3 times a day.
Okay. All right. Let's have a chat about some practical feeding tips. So, Caitlin, how do a cat's nutritional needs change over their lifetime from kitten through to senior?
So kittens are obviously more active, more playful, so they do need a higher calorie diet. So you are best to feed a kitten diet up to that 12-month mark. Adults, depending on the adult, you could low a fit if they're quite a active, outgoing cat. As we go into seniors, most of the senior diets have got glucosamine, etc. in it to help with arthritis, so you're better to move them onto a senior diet that's also lower in calories because they're not doing as much.
Okay. Makes sense. So you've touched on it, Caitlin. What about cats that are a little bit overweight or potentially underweight? How can cat owners safely adjust their feeding habits? And is that something that should be done in isolation or heading in and having a chat to their local vet?
I think it's always best to come in for a weight check, and then there's lots of special diets out there that can be calculated exactly for your cat's weight. So Royal Canin have got a weight loss program where we can pop your cat's weight in, the exact food that they need to reach their target goals.
So some cats can be very fussy eaters. What's your advice for encouraging a healthy appetite without turning mealtimes into a battle?
So I think if you start your cat from a kitten on a really good brand, like Royal Canin, they are more likely to continue that through their lives and you're not going to have that battle. So if they're not eating, it automatically is something is wrong. We need to look at going to the vet. There's obviously they're having a bit of issues. If your cat has had their food chopped and changed consistently, they can become quite fussy, which means that one day they might like Dine, the next day they might like Friskies, the next day they might like something else. So it's sticking to a brand. If your cat hasn't eaten in 24 hours, definitely either call the vet or you can try something that you know they're going to eat. If they're seriously not eating after 24 hours, you do really need to look at going to the vet because cats, they kind of hide when they're sick. So that could be your first symptom of something's wrong.
Okay. Caitlin, so finally, what's one small change that owners could make today that would have a big impact on their cat's overall health and well-being?
So firstly, I would say looking at their diet, so seeing if they are on a premium food. If you're concerned about them being underweight, overweight, definitely booking an appointment with your vet so they can make assessments, check their teeth, their general health, and giving you the advice that's going to suit your cat and their needs.
Yeah. And for people listening in, how often should cat owners be bringing their cat to the vet?
Depends on age. So if you have a senior cat, we do recommend every 6 months for a check because things can change very quickly with seniors. Kittens as well, you are coming in more often with their vaccinations. But if it's just routine, we say once a year for a health check and vaccine.
Okay. And anything you would add to that? So again, if there's one thing cat owners could change for an overall happier, healthier cat, what would that be?
Keeping them inside, which sounds really silly, but just because you're feeding them a premium food, if they're going outside and they're visiting Tom, Frank and Nancy down the street, Tom, Frank and Nancy could be feeding them Whiskers. So by keeping a cat inside, you can ensure that they're on a good diet and that they're healthy. And the other thing is just knowing your cat. So if you realize that their food intake's off or they're chewing on one side of their mouth, calling the vet and getting that consult and a health check just to make sure that they are okay.
Okay. Thank you so much to Em and Caitlin for joining me today and helping us separate cat nutrition facts from fiction. It's clear when it comes to feeding our feline friends, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but making informed choices, using quality food, and chatting with your vet about your cat's unique needs can really make all the difference. If you'd like more guidance on your cat's diet or you have questions about what's right for their age, weight or health, You can always book a consult with our CPSV vet clinic team. Visit our website at www.catprotection.com.au/vet clinic. Thanks for tuning into the Perfect Podcast. Give your cat an extra treat, a healthy one, of course, from us, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Cat Protection Society Perfect Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show in your podcast app so you don't miss an episode. And we'd love if you can share this podcast with any friends, family or colleagues who all love things cats. In the meantime, you can visit our website at www.catprotection.com.au.